From Vermont Public, this is The Frequency. I'm Mary Angish. It's Monday, April 21st, and here are today's headlines. Lawmakers are trying to make a contingency plan in case the only Vermont-based health insurance company, Blue Cross Blue Shield, goes under. The company lost over $60 million last year and had to borrow money to pay patient claims. A bill would give healthcare regulators emergency authority to lower prices for the most financially secure hospitals if the insurance company is at imminent risk of insolvency. Green Mountain Care Board Chair Owen Foster spoke about the bill during testimony at the State House on Thursday.
Why is this so critical? If Blue Cross cannot pay the claims, the system fails. That means these small practices, your FQHCs, your independent primary care doctors, are so critical. If they don't get paid, they close their doors.
He expects insurance premiums to go up by double digits again next year. The president of University of Vermont Medical Center expressed concern about the legislation. He said it feels like shoring up one part of the health system and weakening another. There was no change in Vermont's unemployment rate for the month of March. The rate stayed steady at 2.6%. That's from state data released Friday from the Vermont Department of Labor. Labor Commissioner Michael Harrington said in a statement that 900 jobs were added to Vermont's economy in March, and there are an estimated 17,000 job openings across the state. In comparison, the seasonally adjusted unemployment rate across the U.S. for the month of March is 4.2%. Orleans County recorded the highest rate at 5.7%. The rate in Chittenden County was lowest, with 2.1%. The University of Vermont is opening up a new soil testing lab that will offer advanced biological analysis for the first time in the state. Joshua Faulkner is director of the new Soil Health Research and Extension Center. He says the new testing will give farmers more information about their soil than was previously available.
We're really honing in on soil health, and that's really important for farmers because it helps make their soils more resilient to effects like climate change.
Farmers used to have to send their soils out of state to get the same results. Faulkner says because the lab is Vermont-based, the data will be much more specific and detailed to different soil types across the state. Vermont Fish and Wildlife says that one of the state's premier wildlife watching opportunities is currently taking place. The steelhead rainbow trout have started their journey up the Willoughby River and will be jumping up waterfalls in what Fish and Wildlife calls a spectacular display of determination. Steelhead can be spotted leaping up the falls on warmer days in mid to late April, so maybe today's the day. Coming up, Connecticut Public's Chris Polanski looks at whether the changing climate could help a fungus that's our best defense against spongy moths. Climate change is impacting native flora and fauna the world over, and New England is no exception. But how could it help or even harm invasive species? As part of our Earth Day series with the New England News Collaborative, Connecticut Public's Chris Polanski takes a look at what a changing climate could mean for one Northeast pest and the forests it calls home.
Jeremy Clark is the lead forester for Housatonic State Forest in northwestern Connecticut. Today he's taking a look at a section that's had a rough couple of years.
Most of the trees are dead. You could see all these oak trees basically have limited to no small, fine branches on them.
It was 4 years ago when Clark first realized he had a problem on his hands. He was drawing up a forest management plan.
And I was actually out inventorying when I first noticed the caterpillars in 2021 falling on me. And I was like, this is not good.
It wasn't good because those black bristly caterpillars were the larvae of the spongy moth, a species recently renamed because its former name included a racial slur for Romani people. The invasive bugs are ravenous and they love oak. They can devastate an oak forest.
It's always amazing to see how much damage such a tiny insect can cause on a single tree and a whole forest, and change the whole forest.
They leave woodlands more susceptible to fire. Within their range, which encompasses all of New England, they've done millions of dollars of damage to trees. Here in this forest, they stressed or killed up to 90% of the oaks in some sections.
impressive.
But there is one naturally occurring secret weapon in the forest's arsenal. It's a fungus called Enomophaga maimaega, and research shows it's extremely adept at killing spongy moth caterpillars.
It is lights out.
Greg Dwyer is a professor of ecology and evolution at the University of Chicago. He's the senior author of a paper this year looking at how climate change may impact spongy moth outbreaks. And it all comes down to this fungus, which needs certain weather conditions to thrive.
If it's wet enough, the higher the relative humidity, and if the temperature is not too hot, then the pathogen will spread like wildfire, and it can wipe out a population of spongy moths in just a few weeks.
Dwyer's research and climate forecasts predict the Northeast will become drier and hotter overall. Among other things, that could mean the fungus won't activate as reliably. That could lead to worse outbreaks and more defoliation events when the caterpillars devour leaves and weaken and kill trees. But Gail Ridge has hope for the fungus. She's an entomologist at the Connecticut Agricultural Experiment Station who's well-versed in the spongy moth, including its poop.
It is star-shaped. They're rather artistic with their defecation.
More importantly, Ridge points out that climate models for New England suggest the possibility of wetter springs that would activate the fungus and help keep the spongy moth in check at the time of year its larvae start to emerge.
Certainly, everything's going to be affected in many ways. So the dynamics in our ecosystem are going to be shifting and changing and adapting as the weather dictates.
It was a wet spring in 2023 that activated the fungus and curbed the spongy moth outbreak in Housatonic State Forest. Jeremy Clark, the forester, remembers it well.
We saw a huge kill-off of the caterpillars. There was dead caterpillars everywhere. It was gooey. It stank. But I was happy to see it nonetheless.
Going forward, Clark is unsure what to expect from a changing climate and its impacts on the spongy moth and the forest at large.
We're kind of at the mercy of what the weather is going to give us.
One year, a wet spring could activate the fungus. Another year could be dry and the caterpillars could wreak havoc. One thing Clark does know is he needs to be ready for anything. For the New England News Collaborative, I'm Chris Polanski in Connecticut's Housatonic State Forest.
Today's episode was produced by Karen Anderson and edited by Liam Elder Connors. We had additional reporting from Lexi Krupp, Nathaniel Wilson, and Howard Weiss-Tisman. And our music is by Blue Dot Sessions. I'm Mary Engish. Talk to you again soon.
This is Tanya Mosley, co-host of Fresh Air. You'll see your favorite actors, directors, and comedians on late-night TV shows or YouTube. But what you get with Fresh Air is a deep dive. Spend some quality time with people like Billie Eilish, Questlove, Ariana Grande, Stephen Colbert, and so many more. We ask questions you won't hear asked anywhere else. Listen to the Fresh Air podcast from NPR and WHYY.